The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. This is episode 180 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. Whew. While match day one was a resounding success, guess what? There is no time to rest. We've got Seattle coming in right away, and you know how that match day goes. So before we get into the madness, let me welcome back my amazing co-host, Christine. How are you doing today?
We did it, Joe. We did it.
Right?
4 for 4 season openers in the books.
Boom, boom, boom. It's amazing, right? Kind of an odd thing to have, but we have it, which is a beautiful part of it. And it's got to be the bank, right? I mean, it really does. Being at home in front of the supporters, there's definitely an extra bounce in the club step.
Absolutely. How's your voice doing? Were you shouting, which is is the raspiness
it's still, you could probably hear a little bit of it. It's still there. There's still this little edge to it. And honestly, it's worth it. If you've heard old podcasts that I've done, usually it's always low and kind of broken down, like when Jerry and I were doing it, because it was usually after a game, not too many days after. I think we're going to get back to that, guys. You see, as the season progresses, I'm going to sound more and more like a frog, because that's how I'm going to be, especially knowing that we're shorthanded.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to get a little bit extra into that mix. So
you know what you should make is some black and gold lozenges and then honey shots. Just coat everyone's throat. Maybe some lemon tea, things like that.
We got to talk to Dweezy. Maybe get some green tea that can kind of smooth things out a little bit.
Exactly.
Shout out to FCFC. Love you guys. So this has been a good start. More than just the game itself. As you saw, the Tifo to Mo and the planning that went behind that. It was one heck of an operation to make that happen. And as far as I'm concerned, it is the best Tifo that we have ever done by far. It's a whole nother standard and appropriate for the day. And also seeing the club's reaction and the players' reaction to it. You could see everybody wearing the armbands. We had armbands pretty much in every cup holder, and the players took it on full measure. You saw the picture with the team. You saw Latif carrying the picture as well. Even after Baird scored, giving a pat on the shoulder band and pointing it back to us. When I titled this thing that we stand together, I do really mean it. We always have stood together, and this was one more moment where we show that. So on my end, the day couldn't have been any better. And of course, we'll talk about the football, but it was appropriate for the day. I think it was fitting and hard. I won't lie. I think it was hard for most of us there to get through it for the full. Nobody. I don't think anybody got through the full 90 without having a moment to breathe and reflect and struggle a little bit. But at the end of the day, we did it right. That's for sure. Christine, you got a good chance to watch the game?
I did. I wasn't able to get in the bank, but I loved hearing everybody who was there give it their all. It sounded great, you guys. You guys really did a phenomenal job. I'm sure, I'm positive the players really appreciated having your presence there. So as much as, I would have loved to have been there, hats off to you guys for showing up and sacrificing your vocal cords for the whole 90 minutes.
Vocal cords and taking a little bit of heat stroke for us down at the bottom. Shout out to Jimmy for getting through seeing double vision and still carrying on for the rest of the match. Dude, what a trooper you are. And a new experience for all of us, going hard with a mask on. Singing with a mask is a different experience, I must say. And to see everybody just getting better and better as the day went on. Yeah, shout out to everybody for pulling that off. Well done. So we do have a busy episode today, so I think we're definitely going to jump into the football. First things first, let's talk about the match against Austin, welcoming the debutants into the league. I will say that, again, shout out to the Austin supporters that found their way. When I was walking into the stadium, there was about 30 of them, I'd say, outside with drums and everything, getting ready to do their thing. Of course, scattered inside. They even flew a plane over the stadium. So shout out to you guys for making the trip and making it happen. That being said, let's get the football here. A starting 11 for our guys. Pretty typical, I think, at this point. Cisniega, of course, was the starter. Now that Vermeer is gone, we had Palacios, Segura, Murillo, and Blackman. Blackman looked good as far as I'm concerned. The midfield was Blessing, Atuesta, and Kay. So our debate over Kay was settled. He was the starter for the day. And then we had Vela, Baird, and here's a shocker. The Moose came in due to Rossi being a game time decision. He was listed as questionable and basically came down to the day of game physical to decide whether he was good to go. And he wasn't. So Moose got the moment. So that is what we had in. The other side, what we previewed in the last episode kind of held true. The young keeper took over. Otherwise, your typical starters were there. So game on, systems matching, let it rip. And I will hand this over to Christine. Give us some play-by-play. How did this thing go down?
Well, first off, I gotta say, pretty much all my predictions were off. So nobody go back and listen to the previous episode. Joe, you were spot on. But in my defense, I could not have predicted. Like, so much happened in 24 hours. Vermeer is gone the day before. I was like, what's happening? And of course, unfortunately, Rossi being out, right before the game as well. Unpredictable. Also, I was pretty surprised that Max started, but we'll get to him in a little bit, but super pleased with how he played. So, just going into it, what an amazing game. Super entertaining. I thought both teams, brought their A game. Austin FC, like, this is the Bob Bradley effect. Like, when he coaches players, when he's around players, those players go on and also influence other players to play a very high tempo, a very entertaining game, full of personality, full of like attitude in a way. They didn't look like newbies at all, and I'm super excited to play them again and see how they're going to do out this season. I think, going into it, first 30 seconds, Palacios gets a shot on goal. Good shot on goal, too. That just, set the tone right there that we're coming after them. And I thought for the most part, I know that there were some dips, but we were really high pressuring them that the whole time. And as I always say, I think defense always starts with our front three. And they did a phenomenal job pressuring together. It never works if only one person pressures, because then you get that situation where, you just see a poor forward kind of like running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So it really only works if everyone buys into this collective pressure. And I thought that we saw Corey Baird and Moose really just using what their fitness, and their work rate. So yeah, super pleased to see that. And then Austin also get a couple really good looks on goal as well. Dominguez gets a header, right within the first 10, 11 minutes. Hosen also gets a header on goal that's just a bit wide. And then at the 22-minute mark, that's when we have our next unpredictable moment of the game. So as you guys all know, that's when Baylor goes down. There's a miscommunication. He is pretty much like somewhat accidentally subbed out, and Opoku comes in for him. Great opportunity for the young guy. Nobody could have predicted this. And I don't know how you felt about it, Joe, but like going back and rewatching the game, I just felt so bad for Vela because there was so much hype. This is his first game back. Like, his intentions are that he wants this, XYZ. And you just know that Vela also wants to be MVP. I'm sure he wants to be the Golden Boot winner again. And for him to go out on a misunderstanding, like, heartbreaking for him. How did you feel in that moment?
It was hard. It was hard to see. In the stadium, it was extremely confusing. Like, what? He's going out? It didn't make sense to anybody that he was going out, and they're like, wow, he must really be hurt in stadium.
Mhm.
Outside, I know it was obvious there was something not quite up to snuff. But in the stadium,
Yeah.
it was like, wait, he's hurt too. Rossi's hurt. Like the wheels start spinning. Like, oh man, we're in trouble here. Uh,
Yeah.
in hindsight, though, I've always understood this as kind of your substitution, right? You put the hands and you put the fingers, and the signal's pretty
It's a
obvious
two-hand
everywhere.
thing. Okay. Uh-huh.
But calling for assistance is not calling for a sub. Like, it doesn't make any sense when you see it. And Bob
Right.
acknowledged that he messed up.
Right.
But it was scary because he did extend the same leg that was injured early on in the last time we got to start
Mhm.
off back at the bank. So
Mhm.
flashbacks are still going to be there.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think in a situation like this, if you could get an excuse to protect the man, you will. It's
Mhm.
just not what he wants. Like any prize fighter, they're never going to call themselves out of it. You have to take them out. If he was really hurt that bad, maybe, but he didn't come across like he was. It was just a scare. Uh,
Mhm.
Hard to see because again, you're on national TV. You've been pushing the entire time for opening day as Vela. I'm going to take the charge. I finally have a year. I finally get healthy. Things are looking up. We have our fans in the stadium again. I'm taking players under my wing. I'm the leader of this team. If I'm
Mhm.
not the best, we're not the best. I know what I have to do. The narrative's right. And then before we even know it, our two leading scorers from the past 2 seasons aren't a part of
Right.
this story. And the team at the moment, at that stage, we weren't dominating this game. We weren't taking anything over. It was a back and forth. There was no suggestion we were just going to walk away with this thing in that moment. So it became a
Yeah.
situation where it's like, wait a minute. One, they're not playing their greatest. Now you're getting an impact player out of the game. And who the heck's going to replace him, right?
Right.
All bad things if you think about it, except this is LAFC. And we know how deep we are this year. We've been talking about the depth and how it's getting better.
Right.
Well, I guess this was the match we got to show off that, yeah, there's a little bit of depth in the squad. You're not going to replace Vela, but you can at least cover the position and do your job. And so, enter Opoku and what he could provide to the game. And I honestly was impressed from the get-go with what he was doing out there in short notice.
Same.
Again, he wasn't prepared to go into the game at that stage, and now he's in it.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with Moose and Baird, who
Right.
they haven't even played together in preseason. I know it was only 2 matches, but they didn't have any time together either. So I don't see anything outside of maybe training where they're getting the work together, but in a
Mhm.
competitive setting, nah, not all three of them. Nope. You're gonna have to learn it on the game, on national television. Let's see what you can do. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's hard. It
And
was hard. Hmm.
Opoku, I just felt like when I was watching him, um, the word that I got had in my head was like professional. He was just a pro. He came in unexpectedly, and the whole game he was solid. He didn't give up the ball. He didn't make any, frantic poor decisions. And in fact, he made some really good plays as well. So I think that's what you expect and want, like at the highest levels of professional soccer, but you don't always expect it, in MLS. And I was so happy to see that he brought that professionalism during, the time that he stepped on the field throughout the duration of the game, like consistency. Love to see that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So going into the second half, and you're right, really close game. In terms of stats, the first half, we have 11 shots for us, 11-5, 9 fouls for us, three of them, and 49% to 51% possession. So they actually having a slightly
Yep.
more possession than we do. Going into the second half, our first goal comes at the 61st minute. And of course, that's the goal from Corey Baird. Amazing opening goal from him for his debut for the club. And that's from a nice pass from Moose that might have been not exactly for him, but it made it to Baird anyways. And he took it first time, found the corner of the goal. Takes us a little bit of a funky deflection, but I think it was a solid strike. And look, Baird, like he to me is Moose times 10. Like he has that work ethic, but he's also got like technique. He's got creativity. He's got some interesting ideas in the way that he moves and the way that he dribbles the ball as well. So I think he's got so much in his arsenal and fit just like, when it's right, right? So if you think about him versus our previous, winger,
You said it.
night and day.
I was waiting for it because I was like, I don't want to dog him,
Right?
but yeah, I am going to dog him because this is what happens when you sign an actual guy that can play left and right wing rather than an outside midfielder that you're trying to convert. There, I
Mhm,
said it. This guy
mhm.
plays the position you needed in the first place, not the other guy. He was trying to train into it, and now you know the
Yeah,
difference. Someone who comes into it naturally doesn't have to think twice about his decision making. He just does it, whether he succeeds or fails. The mission
mhm.
is there, and he's not going to hesitate. And to me, that was the best part about Baird's play. He wasn't there to make it look pretty. He wasn't there to do cutbacks. He wasn't there to show anybody up right in front of him.
Yeah.
His job was to follow the system, put a ball where he thought the ball should be, take a guy if he
Mhm.
had to take him, but play within his ability. And that goes a long way. You don't have to be the best player on the field, but if you know your level and you can play within it to
Mhm.
be effective within a system, you're more valuable than anybody else on the field because
Yeah,
you have done what was instructed. You have done the mission. And to me, that's what he was doing all game is he wasn't trying to go beyond what he could do. He wasn't trying to show off or do too much. He just did the job.
right.
I can't ask for more from a player. He had heart. You could see that this is a player with heart. So for me, I'm like, well, he's a keeper. Monty, I know we was talking about earlier. This guy's a keeper. Yeah, he's a keeper. Like this is what we were needing in that position from the get-go. And now once we get to see the Rossi Vela combo with him and he gets the
Mhm,
extra space because they're going to have to overdo it with the other two, he's going to have a
mhm.
field day in this system, especially if he plays the way he just did. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'd also want to mention another standout performance. In the 89th minute, Pablo has a big, big save
Oof.
from, I think it's a shot from Gallagher, who had a pretty good game for Austin. And that was maybe the second or third big, big save that Pablo had in the game.
Hmm.
And, I can't help but wonder if he didn't make those saves, if we had been tied up or if we had gone down a goal, how that would have shifted the momentum. So amazing performance by Cisniega, and I also can't help but wonder how much of that is affected by Vermeer being gone.
Well,
What do you think?
the pressure's off. I mean, now
Yeah,
the pressure's to perform. That's it. Not that I'm going to lose my job. I have stability. I know what I need to do. Now I just
right,
need to improve my craft.
right.
Having played that position and having a threat, it's a little different. Yeah, you want to play better, but there's this odd little pressure that you get, right?
Hmm.
He doesn't have that. Now it's just I have to do my job. Romero is still there, and I will tell all of you that Romero will definitely take this job if Cisniega can't.
Hmm.
He will, and he'll thrive in it. Guaranteed he will thrive in this role. But guess what? Cisniega did the job. I was impressed with what he could do out there. He made some big saves. He also did a couple plays where he came out and played a little bit of sweeper keeper. At least two incidents that I saw where he came out
Yeah.
more aggressively than he normally does. And that's a change in his mindset. That's something that obviously has been worked on in the offseason, and it came up twice where he came up and more aggressive than he normally does, and it paid off. I will
Right.
say the other thing that we benefited from is Pochettino did not have the greatest game. Uh,
Hmm.
he went in to do a job and he didn't do it. At least that's how I felt. He was fine. He was a good player, but he didn't do the expectation. He didn't perform like he's been doing in preseason, and that
Yeah.
came to the benefit of us. Like they
Yeah.
outpassed us like crazy in this game. But here's the thing: they outpassed us like crazy in their own half. So you might want to say maybe we weren't pressuring as much as we normally do when teams are
Hmm.
rattling the ball back and forth. But when it came into the offensive zone, we actually had the better statistics of offensive passing and creating threats. They seemed to kind of hit a wall once they got to the final third, and we were able to shut it
Hmm.
down and counter them, which we did good on the counters, better than them. That kind of was the
Absolutely.
story of this day, right? Is the counter
Yes.
play. So
Yes.
that's where I saw it. I mean, saves wise, what they had 7, we only had 3. Um, I said the 2 moments that came out to me. The other guy that we do need to talk about, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, he shouldn't start this game. He shouldn't start this game." Was Mark Anthony K. As far as
I
I'm
may have
concerned,
said that last episode.
Right? We
Right,
were like, he's rusty. He didn't look rusty
right.
today, guys. Not at all.
Yeah.
He was efficient. He did what he had to do. He picked his spots. Again, playing within your abilities. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't get his legs stuck out. He didn't get caught in any bad positions because he was trying to do too much. He did his job. And that's all we needed for the
Mhm.
day, especially knowing that we were unsettled. So, couple of things. I know you're looking at the stats too that really stood out. I think, where is it at? I was like, wow, that's pretty darn good. But he was almost 90% rated in his passing. I think it was like
Wow.
89.
Yeah.
It was up there. Um,
Yeah.
he was better than the others in the midfielder in the midfield position. The other
Agreed.
guys that stood out to me, Segura was efficient in what he was
Mhm.
doing on the day more than Murillo was.
Mhm.
Still, both defended well, but in terms of distribution, they were better. Palacios was much improved compared to what he did in preseason. Blackman
Yeah.
did what Blackman does. I don't question it. His passing wasn't as at a higher rate than he normally is. It was a little down, but I think that's because of the
Yeah.
system we were up against. He kind of
Right.
limited that creativity, and it gave an opening for Palacios to be a little bit more offensive minded, kind of tilted to
Yeah.
the other side. Latif was Latif. Not ever the most efficient, but definitely the most threatening at stages. So
Yeah.
he did his job. Moose, again, the dummy pass that wasn't really a dummy pass to Baird was kind of his highlight moment.
Right.
You mentioned that he was the one that gave the pass to Vela when Vela got extended.
Mhm.
Yeah, again, long passes were good with him, but some decision making was a little bit on a lag, I could say.
Sure. Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
guessing.
Some of the timing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Opoku was good. Cifuentes, when he came in, of course, you saw what happened there. But
Right.
and I'll keep saying that every time I see Cifuentes come in, I think we played a higher tempo. There's
Mhm.
there's a little bump up, and so we
Yeah.
need to find more chances to get him in because you saw what happens when he comes in. So
Absolutely.
overall in the day, did we play our best? No, but I challenge any team to take out your two top players, your two DPs, right before
Mhm.
kickoff and get a result. I don't care who it's against. We're talking about Seattle in a few minutes. Yeah, take out Rui Diaz and tell me what they're going to do. Okay. We're
Right.
the only ones getting away with this. I don't see anybody else in the league that can pull that off. So be happy.
Yeah. And I gotta say, we might not have played our best as a team, but that's probably the best game or one of the best games that I've seen Pablo play. And I think that's one of the most solid games that I've seen Mac play. And
Hmm.
I do get nervous every time Mac is a starter in a big game because you never quite know what you're gonna get with him depending on the day. But I have to give him props because he was the best midfielder of the day. Okay, I can talk. And the stats show that. And on the flip side, to be honest, I think that Atuesta didn't have the best day. He seemed a little unbalanced. He seemed a little like uncharacteristically unaware of the pressure on his back, and he wasn't completing passes. So Mac really stepped up and as you said, did his job, which is really just to receive the ball, open up his body, distribute to the other side of the field. Um, Simple, simple, simple. Make the game simplified. And he himself always talks about that in press conferences. He's like, I'm always just trying to get back to the basics, and especially for a midfielder, that's all you want to do. It's just focus on the basics and execute those basics perfectly.
Yeah, don't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in a war of words or a tit for tat with another player. Like, don't get suckered into it. Honestly, though,
Hmm.
Austin played it pretty clean, cleaner than I expected from an expansion team. So credit to them on
Hmm.
that, because I think
Yeah.
they're more worried about their system. They're building into something. I
Right.
will say though, seeing what they can do against us in the moment, they're gonna have a good year. I
Hmm.
have every bit of confidence. This team looks like a team that will finish over 500. And that's really good for an expansion side. Um,
Yeah.
I also think maybe the Pochettino setup in the middle. And let's be honest, Alex Ring was probably the most effective midfielder for both sides in this game.
Absolutely.
He was all kinds of trouble for us. And that might have been
Yeah.
why Atuesta was a bit pinned in this match because, dude, Ring is, yeah,
Okay,
he's
but
next level.
was Ring like not called on a bunch of fouls, or was it just me?
He times it well.
He like just barely. He was like, it was just on the line so many times where I was like, is that a foul? Is that a yellow? and the ref would like let him play, and I'm like, all right, I guess it was a good foul in a way, like he knew how to execute it. Yeah, he was
You
going in hard.
Yeah, he does, but that's what he's always done. That's why they brought him in. A good
Hmm.
experienced player. It's a steal that they have him in the first place. And yeah, he always knows how to get that little extra like hit. So he's not
Yeah,
like Chara who just goes, yeah, whatever, I'll take my yellow card. Like Ring's careful with these things.
right.
And he can also distribute too, which is dangerous. So he's kind
Yeah.
of a Tuesta's match in a way. Because it's like, oh
Hmm.
great, and then so they're really, it is a clash of the Titans between those two, which
Yeah.
explains why I think Atuesta was a bit tied up and Mac had the ability to kind of open things up. And his mark, the guys that are in charge of him, they weren't, yeah, he won the battle there. Again, Pochettino wasn't on the level I expected for the day. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad, but not what we thought he was going to give on the day, which worked out good for us. So,
Right. I would
yeah, I
agree.
mean that's kind of where we're at on this match.
Hmm.
I did also again want to shout out again to Baird for paying respect to Mo.
Hmm.
After scoring his goal and dedicating it to Mo and all of us, that was hard for me. I just keep singing after I saw it. And I saw it and it was just stunned and it was beautiful. And
Hmm.
so, Baird, you've already won us over, man. I don't think there's any question about that. But the North End pretty much loves the vibe, man, and we love how much you're already looking to bleed for these colors. So again, shout out to Baird. He's more of the story than anything else, even though Cisniega saved us at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Any
absolutely.
final takes on from you on what we got from opening day?
I mean, I'll just recap the last goal real quick. It was
Mm-hmm.
in the first minute of extra, I believe. It was 90+1.
Yep.
And really, the goal comes from Opoku pressuring the back line. They give it the ball, and Opoku dribbles the goal, squares it across for, I'm blanking right now. Was it Moose?
Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then it
Yeah.
it kind of got into a busted up play,
Hmm.
right? And then somehow, some way,
Oh, it's for Sifu. I'm sorry.
yeah. See, it was
Yeah,
Sifu,
it's for Sifu.
and then chaos
Sorry.
chaos ensued, right?
Yeah, yeah, total brain fart right now. I've been watching too much soccer this
Oh
week, but
yes, every
but yeah,
emotion.
I mean really comes from work rate, and I think like we could only get sharper from here. There's a lot of things that can be um, refined in a way, but overall, I think that they did a fantastic job collectively. I think some of the highlights for me personally was defensive line. It feels like a different day. It feels like a new era where we can confidently say we have a really strong defensive line. It might be one of the highlights of our team, in fact, instead of the lowlights as it has been in the past. I think the Murillo Segura combination, you feel confident, you feel like they are going to make the right decisions in the moment. And yeah, like as a center back, you only really like have a short period of time to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to clear it? Are you going to go for it? Are you going to try to intercept it? Are you going to tackle this guy? Are you going to give him space? And I think they really make the right decisions. And then, the two outside backs, Tristan's got his own personality. Palacios putting in so much work on the whole length of the field. So I'm really excited to see how we're gonna change as a team and sort of like unlock the next level, the level that we want to be on, because we're gonna be able to not have to worry about conceding as many goals as we've had in the past season.
Well, I mean, shutouts, right? I mean, it is
Yeah.
what it is. We don't get them, so this was fun to
Mhm.
see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This okay, opening day, a shutout after, preseason we conceded how many goals?
Right. Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Go call it a masterclass, even though it wasn't, but we'll take it. The other things in the match, yes, Marvin mentioned Blessing holding Mo's photo. That was something that really stood out on the day. Taking it to the locker room, definitely. Again, our boys are. This club is different. I keep saying it. There's nothing like this club. We're different. I know the ticket situation is extremely infuriating for all of us. Trust me on this. My family, it's tough, but it's kind of a lose-lose situation for them. Yes, we get to back in the stadium, but there's no way we're gonna have everybody, and we're all gonna lose a little bit in this process. But on the field, in the moment, yeah, there's nothing like LAFC and its supporter base and the relationship that it has. So, agreed, Marvin. You're right. Blessing was again next level, as was Baird. Other things that seem to be interesting is this match was the most watched soccer match of any soccer match in the United States this weekend. It beat out
Wow.
EPL. There's a Chelsea match, I believe, or no, Arsenal match. Beat it out. It was the number one. I don't remember ever hearing about that for MLS. It's not something. Oh, yeah, it's strange, right? And actually, MLS took the top two, but we won't talk about that other one. We were number one. Like, who does this? Usually it was nobody watches MLS. No, their money comes from the gate, and you don't draw. There's no draw to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, here's a shocker. Austin's TV market with soccer has always been strong. There's the big secret. Them in San Diego for some reason seem to really be strong in watching games. Go figure. And then LA is okay with it, right? We have so many people, but this match, yeah, next level, top notch. So give a pat on your back, guys. I'm sure the 3252 and the supporters have something to do with that. Austin, of course, and all the buzz they've created definitely have something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they model us because they can. They have the right fan base to model us. Because you go to somewhere else, it's not going to have the same vibe they have. So it makes sense that these two sides would be so entertaining and draw so many people. So pat on the back to everybody involved. That was good to see. Any last thoughts on the match before we move on to some other news?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. So Christine, did you want to talk a bit about Bob's reaction and what he said after the fact or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Bob had, in terms of his accidental subbing out of Vela, he did have like an in-game interview where he said that this might be my fault. And, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and hear that conversation after the game of how that went. But I think that in my mind, he might be a little snake bit. Like, look, like they just had to pull Rossi out of the lineup, and Vela did get hurt in their opener last season, and look how our season went without him. So I think it's totally reasonable to want to be overly cautious with your star player. But perhaps, he just got a little, he reacted too fast. And that's unfortunate for Vela, but we got a whole season to go. So even if he did jump the gun, as he said, hopefully we can move on because we got a big game coming up.
Right. I like when players are mad when they come out. I like that fight. I'm okay with it as long as they don't do something too crazy, but be
Yeah,
mad about coming out. That's fine. I like the hunger.
right.
Especially when you're the star guy and you're wearing the captain's armband. Yeah, you don't like that. No.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm good with it. Other funny things. This is an interesting jump. Farmer John. So that was another LAFC news thing that popped up. Farmer John's extended their deal for another year. So Max Bretos is the voice of this sponsorship. I don't know if that means he's going to do Farmer John commercials, but that should be rather interesting. I mean, he's in a hallowed group with that. I guess Vin Scully was doing that for years for the Dodgers. So
Nice.
have fun with that, Max. That's pretty cool. Can't wait to hear the plug on that one. Let's see other things that stood out. The article, Christine. Did you see the article about Vela and Kim Moon Hwan?
Yeah, I did. And I thought that was really awesome to hear. So Kim Moon Hwan has basically, approached Vela in terms of, ask him how he could just best integrate into the team. And Vela has been vocal about him having like an open door policy to all his players. As the captain of the team, if they need anything, if they need advice, if they just need some time with somebody else. And I think, for Kim, he's moving to a completely new country, different language. He's learning English right now. He has a tutor. He's living here with his wife. First time living in the United States or living really outside of Korea. So huge cultural / life adjustment. Plus he's got a little knee injury. I'm sure that's not ideal for him in terms of him wanting to come right into the season and make an impact. So he asked Villa, for advice, and Villa's been able to sort of mentor him and give him, tips on how to just think about being on the team going into the season. And I think being in the right mental state of mind is the most important thing. I know as a Korean person, and especially because he's an athlete, a lot of pressure, thinking about like, what does this mean? How well do I have to perform? And he does feel like, okay, I have to show that Korean nationals are going to be able to perform and deliver in the MLS, because that's going to set a standard for, potential acquisitions in the future of Korean nationals. So I know that he's feeling the pressure and he wants to give it his all and deliver and probably even be a starter. So yeah. So it's great to hear him and Villa have been able to have that talk and through a translator, but be able to have conversations.
Translator was Ben Chi. Imagine
Mhm.
being that guy in this situation. Shout out to
Right.
Ben. Yeah, well, can you imagine? I have to translate a conversation between Carlos Vela and Kim Moon Hwan. Like, don't mess it up, dude. Right? Oof, tough. But I
Like you
think
can
it is
win.
impressive for Vela
Mhm.
to mention the open door that he has as captain.
Yeah.
Uh, I've never heard of that from Vela in his history, like the press, the way they cover him. You're seeing
Mhm.
the real Vela now, I think, is what you're getting
Mhm.
to see, is not his closed door.
Mhm.
I said it, but there it is. I will say for Kim, it's hard. He's a national player. And if you don't get playtime for your club, you're no longer a national player. It is that much pressure that he's under right now, as he came here as a
Mhm.
springboard. This isn't home base. This is a temporary situation. But if he doesn't get into the field and get into a starting role, he'll be here a lot longer than he expected, or he's heading back home and
Mhm.
he's not prepared to do that. And so
Yeah.
even though it's early, and yes, there's an injury, so it kind of gives him a little bit of a chance to adjust. That does help on the pressure side, even though it's an injury and that's scary. It still gives him a chance to kind of get his bearings before it actually turns into performances. So
Yeah.
it's hard. I mean, Vela lost so much time last year to injury that he's a good guy to talk to in this case.
Oh, totally.
It also probably has a little pressure that I mean, Blackman stepped up. He has.
Right.
It's going to be hard to break into the lineup if Blackman keeps playing the way he does.
Yeah.
That's real talk. It's Blackman's job till he loses it, and he
Mhm.
has shown no signs of losing it anytime soon. So
Right.
that's going to be added pressure for Kim as well. So yeah, great article, great coverage on that. It's just great to see again the chemistry within the club to have that happen. Let's see other stories. Well, let's talk about it. Kenneth Vermeer is no longer a part of the black and gold. He's just a part of our history. And
Mhm.
a tempered, tortured kind of history, I must admit. Uh, Came in with a lot of promise, Champions League experience, the best penalty shot stopper when he was in his prime in Europe. He had the best stats for a while there. So he came with promise, but was kind of a fading star back home. Came here for a little bit of a resurgence, and I really don't think the resurgence went from game to game. It was every once in a while we saw old Vermeer, and then we'd see really old Vermeer. Sorry, but that's what we're at. Where a guy was pretty much diving before shots.
Uh-huh.
Dude, that to me, that's you're making up for something when you do that. Coming out at the wrong times, getting caught halfway, and then not even diving on certain plays because you weren't squared to the shot. So
Yeah.
on my end, it's kind of like, well, thanks for your service, but yeah, seriously, the young guys need to take their shot because you didn't own it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not what we expected, I think. So, not a complete, loss or anything, not a complete failure, but definitely not the performance or the keeper that I think that we all thought we were gonna get, in him, unfortunately. But yeah, it seems like it's best for both parties, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with our keeper situation in the future.
Yeah, I honestly have a lot of hope with what we
Mhm.
have. I know Cisnega's had his struggles. He's young. He's had his struggles, but they were never as blatant as we saw with Kenneth Vermeer. They weren't.
Yeah.
For me, it's always been with Cisnega. It has been a lot of a confidence issue that I've seen,
Mhm.
where he
Mhm.
comes out or he doesn't come out when he needs to, and he hesitates.
Yeah.
But I do think that's something that you can work out. That's not a permanent situation for any goalkeeper. Those are temporary stages in their careers, right? That's how it
Right.
works.
Yeah.
But now he has Romero with him, and I can guarantee you the training sessions are going to be a little bit harder now. The two young guys. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. I think it's going to be a little more intense.
Right.
It should be fun. I'd love to see the sessions. If anybody's ever seen a training session with Zach Abdel,
Mhm.
they're painful. Like, trust me on this. He sculpts his players with a chisel. Like, it's like that kind of training sessions with him.
Wow.
Younger Zach Abdel was even harder, I will say. But when I have seen the sessions, I'm always totally impressed because he's getting the absolute best out of his guys. So I am looking forward to this.
Nice.
Christine, any final takes on that? Do you think Romero's even going to challenge for the starting role, or is it pretty much Cisnega's to hold on to?
I think it's all Pablo, and I'm kind of curious if they're going to bring in another keeper. Really, it's so hard to say with Romero because I've seen so little footage of him. But I think that he is also a promising, confident, composed young keeper. But there's just no way that Pablo is not going to be the man for a very long time.
Yeah, I see no
Um,
purpose in burning maybe an international spot like we did with Vermeer, or putting
mhm.
that kind of money into a goalkeeper when you have two that are promising.
Yeah.
Promising is a good thing. I'm okay
Mhm.
with that. I think both of them have more capabilities than Tyler Miller had as well. I feel more
Yeah.
secure with these two. Probably the most secure for a tandem. I'm telling you guys, Romero's legit. You'll see. It's good. I'm okay with this. Works for me. So yeah, bye Vermeer. Thank you for your service. I'm not sure where you're going to head to next, but the best of luck under the circumstances. So any other news that you saw, or we're ready to move on to Seattle?
I think Seattle time.
Seattle time. There we go. So, yeah. So Seattle kind of, I'll throw some backstory. So Seattle dumped a bunch of players in the offseason. Some seriously good players like Erickson, right? And Leardam, and kind of the guys that stop them from getting scored on in many cases and control tempo, like the old vets, but still guys that are the character, right, of the team. They kind of let them go, and said, okay, we got to try new things. So much so that they had to actually change their entire system of play. Okay. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So we see this team that obviously looks like it's in flux. The player they send off to go on loan gets hurt, so you lost him. So Morris is gone too. On paper, you'd be like, oh boy, this team's in trouble. They could be fighting for a playoff spot on paper. Yeah, guess what? The game's not played on paper. That's not how it works. And if you know anything about their system, their coaching, never write off Seattle. So, Christine, how did they do on opening day?
This was such a weird game. So they won 4-0 against Minnesota United. But if you watch the whole first half, you would not have predicted that that's where the game was going to go. This includes a missed penalty by Rui Diaz in the first half.
Yeah.
Um, And I gotta say, like, they did clean it up later on, but the first half was like very much resembling a pinball machine, or just like ding, 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 just like chaos, really. You'd be pressed to find three string passes together. And I think they looked really unlike themselves. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it has to do with the new formation. Uh, they had to pull their center mid. Atencio came in, played for them. I think this was might be one of his
First.
first MLS debut. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did a solid job, but still, like, not what you expect. Nicholas De Ladero's out, and even still managed to win 4-0. So, I mean, the ice was broken. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just, I honestly went in this game, and I know they absolutely own Minnesota. Sorry, Minnesota, they own you. I really thought, because yes, they lost some a couple critical components in Minnesota,
Mhm.
but then they brought in some guys that could produce.
Yeah.
So I kind of look like, okay, we got some Argentinian connection going on here. I really thought that Minnesota and their goalkeeping situation, I like the young goalkeeper better than Miller. I do. I think he's really
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
I mean, you saw him, even though it was a high score, it wasn't on him. I
Mhm.
really thought that Minnesota, this chance, and this was their best chance to tack one on to Seattle, get a little revenge.
Yeah.
And I really thought it was going to be a revenge match. I really did.
Yeah.
And then they came out. It was sloppy in the first half. Nobody really dictated anything in the first half. One
Right.
team's trying to figure themselves out, and the other team just looks lost. Sorry, Minnesota. I
Mhm.
don't know what you were doing out there. And by the time the second half came around, well, one team found a way, and the other was in the woods.
Mhm.
So it didn't quite work out for Minnesota. Part of me thinks a lot of the story is about Minnesota not functioning the way they should, but the other part of me is like, well, Seattle killed when they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of what happened in our game too. It's like Austin FC kind of went toe to toe with us the first half, or maybe even the first 65, 70 minutes. But the more quality team is going to outlast. And that's like so much about it is really a matter of focus, and fitness as well. And I think when João Paulo gets that first goal in the 49th minute, like the ice was kind of broken. And then you see the quality, especially of their attackers, like, Rui Diaz, out of this world. Amazing, amazing finisher. Like he missed a penalty, still scored 2 goals this game, you guys.
He doesn't let up. Man never lets up.
Yeah.
And he just came in from quarantine. Well, he had trouble getting his green card.
Hmm.
Weird. So he didn't really get any chance to have preseason with these guys. I don't think he played in any of their preseason. I think it was last second I'm in, throw him in the game.
Wow.
Like it was like
That's
that. So
wild.
you guys know, and I'll just lay out the system. So they went from playing a 4-2-3-1, lock it down, low block if necessary, to playing, which don't believe it on paper. Everybody says they had 5 defenders. They didn't. Okay. They were playing a 3-5-2. You're like, 3-5-2? Yeah, right. Who the heck plays that? Guess what? Seattle does now. That's their new system. They've adopted it, and we're all going to have to get used to it because you know how they are with their systems. It's to a T. That's how they do it. So it was interesting. They had Fry in goal. This is
Hmm.
interesting. Nuhu Tolo is their left center back. Would you trust him
Hmm.
there? That's a gamble. Xavier Arriaga and Shane O'Neill. That's your back
Hmm.
line. So that, see, on paper, I'm like, ooh, okay, you're going to be in trouble with this back line. Guess what? They weren't. They're fine.
Hmm.
And then your midfield, out on the left side was Brad Smith. Out on the right side was Alex Roldan.
Hmm.
They had the kid playing defensive mid,
Hmm.
academy kid. Check that out. And then they had Christian Roldan and João Paulo playing a elevated midfield. So almost like 2
Hmm.
attacking midfielders at times.
Hmm.
Right? So what they did
Yeah.
was they sacrificed a defender for an attacking midfielder to have a tandem up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, try getting the ball out with those two. Okay, so I
Yeah.
see where it works, right? It presses much higher with this. And then their front line was Raul Ruiz Diaz and Will Bruin. And in
Yeah.
case you were wondering, their super sub is Montero. What? Yeah, Montero is
Hmm.
your super sub. So that is what they're playing now. When they're showing, oh, they have 5 in the back. Well, yeah, Roldan and Brad Smith can drop low if they have to. So you could
Hmm.
clog your back line if necessary. So that is what I saw. They would transition that way, but then they could
Yeah.
also jump in, and one of those guys could kind of play as a as a striker at time if he wants to, like a winger. So it's very
Yeah.
dynamic, their new system, if they get it right. And it took them a half to get it right, and now they have it right.
Right.
So add in the fact that you could take an academy kid out, and who's going to go into that position now to defensive midfield against us? Because I guess he's healthy now. Nico Ladero.
Oh, Ladero. Hmm.
Yeah, so Ladero is traveling. That's what I've heard. He'll be here on Saturday. So you take the
Right.
kid out, you put Ladero in. You tell me how that midfield's going to play out against us. We got 3. They got 5.
Yeah.
And your core is Ladero, Roldan, and João Paulo to surround it to West and battle with K.
Right.
Yeah. Um, we we thought they were weaker, but they're not. Sorry, they're not. It's just
It just stressed me out, Joseph. I just got stressed out thinking about this.
I'm ready for a heavyweight fight. Is what I'm ready for.
Yeah.
That's what I see with this new system. Is it seems like it's built to come at us in a way and overload our system. It does
Mm-hmm.
feel like kind of like the kryptonite for a 4-3-3 this way. The only problem
Mm-hmm.
is when you have 3 up top like that and they have 3 in the back, you can definitely overwhelm that and get around it, especially if your wingers are effective on the day. Again, if you have Rossi, you have Vela, and you have Baird flying all over the place. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know who comes in behind them. I could see, especially with Tolo, like you're isolating Tolo with Vela.
Mm-hmm.
I see a mismatch.
Yeah.
And then you have Shane O'Neill versus Baird, maybe. It can isolate if you isolate that, that can be fun. And then Arriaga
Yeah.
just does Arriaga's job. He's a good player. I don't
Yeah.
not question that guy at all. He's really good. So it's gonna be, to me, a heavyweight back and forth. We're gonna trade goals. I expect that last time. I don't see the low block even developing with this unless they really want to throw 5 in the defense,
Mm.
which Brian Schmetzer could do
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
you know what's going to be fascinating is just how our new back line is going to deal with Rui Diaz and Bruin and, Ladero if he is, starting that game. I want to see them. I want to see how they're going to be tested really this is such a good litmus test to see how our new system is going to do for the rest of the season for me.
Yeah, I think it's unique though because of their system though. I think everyone else is going to still throw
Mhm.
5 in the midfield and have 2 defensive mids in this case
Yeah,
instead of 2 offensive minded players. So
right,
that's a change. I
right.
think they're unique. I really do.
Yeah,
And we'll see if it's sustainable. Again, they have a lot of players over 30. We don't. A
that's
lot
true.
over 30. We'll see if
Mhm.
okay, first month of the season, they're going to be gangbusters. I do think that they're not going to stay healthy playing this system throughout the season, especially with so many isolated
Mm,
players in certain places. I think they're putting themselves at injury risk with the system they have.
mm.
Prove me wrong. We'll see. But I do think that
Interesting.
on the day it's going to be hard for us, but long term, they could fade with this system and it could get figured out.
No, I think that's definitely. I have to think about that a little more, but that's definitely an interesting take. We should keep an eye on that and see how their players do. Because it is, you're right, it is kind of like asking a lot from certain players, maybe not effectively using other players. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how that plays out.
I just think Tolo is the danger man in this situation. I know he's got to get a lot of
Mm.
skill, but
Yeah.
isolated that way, okay. I
Hmm.
welcome Vela to have fun with that matchup. I really do. In our case, it's the midfield. We're gonna be in a war. That is really tough having those guys around you. For Atuesta, he's gonna have a hard day.
And Atencio didn't do bad either, even if Ladero can't play. Like he did not have a bad game at
He was
all.
great. He was one of the
Yeah,
most effective players on the field.
right.
By far. By far. He was very efficient in what he did. He knows the
Right.
system perfectly. He
Yeah.
probably adopted it faster than everybody else. So yeah, they have depth now, guys, that we didn't expect, and it's younger depth. So there you go.
Hmm.
So that's my vibe on Seattle. In terms of a starting lineup, do you see any changes for us in this case?
The only change that I was thinking about is, and I'm probably wrong because I was completely wrong last episode, but Blessing to me is a little bit, based off of his performance the first game, he's a little bit of a question mark for me. I'm not sure if his work rate in the last game translated to actually creating opportunities. But I do know that in a game like this, maybe Blessing is needed. But I do worry that he's going to maybe give up some fouls, maybe put us in a dangerous position if he sort of dives in too fast, get us sort of caught on counters because we know how amazingly well Sounders do in terms of those quick counters. So I don't know. What do you think about Blessing?
I mean, he's got to deal with Roldan and Smith on his side.
Yeah.
I would rather have Cifuentes in that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I I'm good with both, but I think in this case, I think Cifuentes is the better weapon in this moment. I'll be
Right.
proven wrong, and they'll reward Blessing for good work last week. But
Yeah.
I do think that in terms of the matchup, I would really like to see Cifuentes in this mix. The
Right.
other thing, how many times have we seen Palacios get to face these guys? It hasn't really been a thing, right?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least the four backline that we're slated to have this week, we've never really
Hmm.
had all four of them be able to show up at the same time against these guys. We've always had somebody missing. So
Exactly. This is
yeah.
this is going to be the real test. Like if you this is going to be one of the hardest games that we play this season, I think. Always is,
Mhm.
obviously, with Seattle, but I think this is going to be like, show us if like all the improvements that we think we've made on the defensive side are true and legit. And, if we can really step up to the plate against the best, the best of the best.
And we have to find an answer for Rui Diaz.
Yeah.
The guy hurts us every time. We have to find a way.
Oh, Rudy Diaz. Man.
Yeah, if I could steal a player, that would be the guy. So straight up, that guy is just dynamite. So
So,
there's our issue. Are we going to do it? Is our midfield going to be able to track back and prevent anything at the top of the box from burning us? Because you could see they could hit it from anywhere.
mhm,
Lots of questions, and we'll get our answers on Saturday in live and direct and national TV once again, because we're always on national TV. 3:00
mhm,
start yet again for the national audience. Will probably be the top rated game again. Don't be surprised by that if we're showing up in the ratings. So it's all setting up lovely. We might have more people at the bank at this one. Not confirming that, but there's things in motion. We saw the Dodger game, what they're doing. So
mhm,
um, every game I'd expect that we might have a little bit more each game because it's just natural having the lowest positivity rate in the country right now
mhm.
that you'd expect to be rewarded for that. So let's see what happens by that time. I've seen a lot of people on there, and we're seeing the comments from our Heart of LAFC family that a lot are going to the game, that they're getting the email. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I hope everybody gets their chance and we get to normal sooner than we expect. So
Yeah.
there is that. News from around the league. I'm not going to get too heavy into it. I know we're almost at the hour mark already. I
Mhm,
can say there were some surprises on the day. There were some shockers. There were some expectations. The Philadelphia Union Columbus match was supposed to be the clash of the Titans. Shield holder, cup holder. It ended in a 0-0. I do believe the match was decided by the goalkeepers and that display they put on because the chances were there. And there should have been
mhm,
goals in that game. I say both of them will be tough for us this year. They are who they are. And Columbus just got that much better with the movements they made in the offseason. Other ones, the Miami Carson game. I can't wait to play both of those guys. If we get a chance, we'll take them both out. New York City FC is not looking in as far as I'm concerned, so I can't wait to play them either. Um, Vancouver was the shock to me over everyone else. I can't believe Portland struggled against them. What the heck was that about? But Portland looked lousy on the day, and I hope they stay that way because I love beating them. So that was interesting. Toronto having issues. I think it's probably Champions League and all that stuff and
mhm.
extra games and being fatigued. But yeah, Montreal looks real. Didn't think that was going to happen either, but it's there. So the league to me looks a lot more competitive, and the goals were really pretty. So I think that's my take is check out the goals because they were really nice this week. So Christine,
Mm.
did you get a good chance to look at the games this week?
Not really. I kind of looked at the scores, but mostly I saw, I mean, the João Paulo goal, everyone is saying is going to be, goal of the season. I don't think that's going to be goal of the season, but it was
Dude,
nice.
there were other goals in the league this week that were probably better than that one. That's how good it was
Right.
this week. So
Yeah.
a lot of long distance blasts. I don't know what that's about, but
We're getting stronger.
I
Our,
think that's what it is.
yeah.
This MLS versus 2 years ago is not. It's not the same anymore. Each
Literally,
year,
we're getting stronger.
it is. It really
Uh,
is. So I'm just enjoying watching it. So that would be my impressions. Is there's a lot of new teams that look pretty good this year. Not new, but teams we didn't expect. Even Chicago looked competitive. Are you kidding
yeah.
me? Does that mean everyone's competitive this year?
I
Wild.
heard Cincinnati's wasn't that bad either. I was
No, they
shocked to
scared
learn that.
Nashville. Nashville got a little
Oh,
fortunate in the one goal that they scored. I think it was meant to be a cross from Leal, but it still went
mm,
in. Um, Nashville will get it straight. I think it was just they got caught. A goalkeeper made a really bad error in that game.
mm.
But yeah, again, everyone's a little more competitive. I think the only guys that are going to be bottom dwellers when it's said and done is probably going to be Miami. Y'all going to be bad. You're all old and you play in hot weather. Sorry. It's just the way it is. And even with your extra DP, you're still not going to make it happen.
Wow, Joseph.
I called it. I mean, they did. They have to change. They did roster changes because they cheated and it didn't pay off. So
Oh
they are who
yeah,
they are. If you want to be the new Chivas USA, go right the heck ahead. I do think Hercules has a point on that one. If you saw it in ESPN FC, they're really poorly run, and
mm.
the solutions aren't there. The promises aren't being paid off on, and so
So
good luck to Fort
unfortunate.
Lauderdale
Yeah,
or wherever they're playing. The old replacing Lockhart, but whatevs. So that's that. We're going to be good. The West is going to be strong. The East looks even better. And I just think it's going to be a good competitive MLS this year. It could be a full season if we all play our cards right. So I'm going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No life for the next few months. Only watching freaking MLS games. So
I am
yeah,
all for it. I really am. And those who are dogging this league, I think they're missing out because there was some good football this weekend. That's for sure.
absolutely.
Beyond that, I do want to give a shout out to the LAFC Fantasy League. Yeah, guys, I think I did better than I expected since I only had like 2 hours to figure out what I was doing, but I'm in second place in the whole thing right now.
What? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
right. I thought I'd be 50th at this point, but I'm second. We shall see how long that lasts. Um, I'm mad because I had Blackman on the bench rather than starting in this one.
Oh no.
Bad me.
Why?
Because I had other guys I thought were going to do something.
Okay.
And then he got like the most points of any defender in the league that would have put me in first place. So there it is. It would have been first place, guys, but I made a bad decision
That's
and didn't
fine.
start Blackman. Why? But Maria was starter, so that was nice.
Okay.
So there is that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Christine, any other comments or anything you want to share before we jump into our listener reactions and Q&A tonight?
I think we should go to the listeners.
Boom, boom, boom. So as you guys know, Heart of LAFC community, we always want to hear from you guys. I know you haven't put a lot of comments up today as we were doing the show because I like saving it for the end so we can feature what you guys say.
Mhm.
Call me selfish, but that's what I feel like doing today because you all deserve the feature anyway. So I'm going to show these off and we'll see what we have to say. I see Marvin's asking people about going to the Seattle game. I will be at the Seattle game. I will definitely be at the Seattle game. So here's Marvin Chavez. I found out by the email that I guess my family is on the list this week. So that means we're going to miss the Carson game. Because, right, if you do it,
No.
then you're out until everybody gets to go. That is the setup, guys. So if you get one early, guess what? You're going to sit for a while. So, yeah,
Mm.
they got called up. So it looks like my family gets to go to this one. But, I mean, we had season tickets since before the name was even, like, official. So there it is.
Mhm.
So we're going to burn our tickets this week. There it is. Yeah. Christine, are you going to be going into the game, press pass, or anything like that?
For some of the home games, I will be, but they're also limiting press. So
Yeah.
yeah, sadly, I wasn't able to get into the opener because they had to cut down a lot. Um, but like I told everybody last episode, don't be sad if you can't get in. So it's like, Christine, take your own dang advice. Don't be sad. Watch the game. Be happy. So I just tried to console myself.
I'm
But
quite
yeah,
literally sad for all of you, including you,
yeah,
Christine. I mean, it's incomplete, and we're there, but we're not all there. So I'm
right.
only going to feel
We're
really good when
we're
we're all there.
we're
There
close.
I
We're
am. Let me be the depressed guy at the game, but yeah, there you
close.
go. I like Marvin. I love this comment. He says, "You won't miss Galaxy because June the whole stadium opens up." Yeah, I think the 15th officially everything's supposed to completely open up, and we're showing the numbers to do that. So you might be right, sir. From your lips to God's ears, let's make sure that happens. Wear your mask, people. Other things. Carson's until August. You're right, Al Hopkins. That is true. So we should do the job and make it happen. Marvin's spending crazy money on tickets. I can't blame you though. I understand. The love is there.
Yeah.
But I hate the scalpers doing it, and I will make my diatribe on that. You scalpers are scum. There you go. Charging $400 for opening day was evil. I hope you lose your
Yes.
season tickets because you aren't one of us if you're charging that. Sorry, but you're not. Leave. We don't need you. Go to Carson. That's Carson stuff. They would if they could, so we know where you stand. It's not a good price if it's over face value if you're in the North End, as far as I'm concerned. So there you go. I don't dig it, especially if you're a season ticket holder. Like, you're getting this excellent situation, then you profit. So whatevs. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. We've got begging from Al. Brendan, we miss you, brother, from Australia. We'll get you soon. I love having you come on, so it'll happen to happen again.
Yeah.
Al again says, yes, honestly, Seattle should always be considered a favorite until we take them in the playoffs. Well, yes, they always break our hearts when it counts the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they own us in a way. We've had great moments, but they've always had the ones that meant the most. So I hate those guys just for that. John, yeah, the field is closed because of restrictions. That is true. Limits are there, but it's for our own safety. I know we want more people. We'll get them. Brendan, you're right. We are the favorites of the bookies, but the bookies don't play on the other side, right? Gambling is gambling. How many times does the favorite make it in this league?
Yeah, I would say completely ignore that.
I hate being a favorite. Call us the underdogs until we win something.
Yeah,
Again.
absolutely.
Again.
I think there was a question. Oh, go ahead.
Al Hopkins says, I think Blessing earned to start again after running 11 kilometers last game. He did run 11 kilometers last game. The man was possessed in that case. So I get it, dude. I get it. He did earn it from his efforts, but tactically, I think this is the other story. Yeah. Mark Lopez says, yes, he did call the clean sheet last time. Yeah, this one I'm not calling a clean sheet. Sorry, I'm not. As long as there's a Rui Diaz on the field, clean sheets don't exist. There. LAFC Seattle are the best games. You're right, Al. You're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, they're the premier of the West.
Right.
Yeah. And seeing how Portland has dropped off when that wasn't expected, they need to find themselves to get back up to it. But it would be the three of us, to be honest. Nestor says, I see Cifuentes as a starter and Blessing as our super sub.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in CONCACAF Champions League. I would agree with you. And I always have liked Blessing the best off of the bench. Yeah. Sorry, Latif, I love you, man. But when you come off the bench, you're absolutely cruel to the other side. So, and Christine's like nodding her head, right? You agree?
Really, makes so much sense, especially the way that he plays. And when you bring in somebody, you usually need them to bring in an extra level of speed, and to infuse a level of fitness because people are fatigued, and that's exactly what he does. So I agree with you, Nestor.
Agreed. And then I like Roberto Espinoza says, hot take, a Poco over Moose. I'll juggle the hot take. I don't think they play the same role.
Yeah.
Moose is a target man. A Poco is a outside runner. I wouldn't want to put a Poco back to goal, right in the center role. I don't think he'd really thrive there. He's better on the outside. But you know how we play this shifting system, so they'll get their moments there anyways. But so Poco is much more mobile than Moose is.
Right.
And his passing was better on the day.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was better on the day. That is true. I agree. I totally agree with you. But the roles are different. I like this by Nestor. Nestor S. I see Rossi and Vela. Wow, Veli, what is that? Rossi and Vela playing a full match in this upcoming game. Christine, your take on that?
I do not see that happening because Rossi, he had a knock that was significant enough that he couldn't play at all this opening game, and I think they're gonna be extra careful with our guys. We got a lot of games going forward, so maybe Vela, depending on how he's doing, but I would say not Rossi.
I'm gonna say they both start the day,
Hmm.
but a full 90 is not expected.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and especially because like we have the ability to sub somebody in who's gonna get the job done, depending on where the game is. But like you also have to consider the imagine a full 90 not being completely healthy against the Sounders. That's a big ask.
As they're beating you up all game.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it is lovely though. Like Rossi goes out and Apoku comes in.
Hmm.
That's nice, right?
Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah, and Moose probably a sub situation as well in this match. But yeah, they're both starting. I totally think they're starting. Al was talking about restaurants not playing, so it's really rough because national TV kind of puts us against all of the other sports and it's competitive. So yes, you're right, Al. It's kind of rough with the TV situation. He threw that on there.
Mhm.
Roberto, most games are nationally televised, and it's for the East Coast folks, and it seems like we're always the televised games. So there's that. We don't have a TV deal apparently, so we need it anyway. Definitely don't go to. There you go. Definitely go for watch party, outdoor pizza, tater tots, Impossible Meat Sub. I know what he's talking about. He must be talking about the party beer, right? The new sponsor. I just met those guys at the last game. Cool people, season
Oh
ticket
yeah.
holders. Like, hey, yeah, LAFC beer, yeah, party beer. There it is. So they're right there. Yeah,
Nice.
shout out to Party Beer. I had a cool talk with them.
Yeah.
They're in it for the right reasons, guys, and I can't wait to get my hands on some of that stuff. So there's that. Yes, I'm causing panic attacks. I do that a lot. Ask Christine. Kind of my way.
Joseph's trying to cause panic attacks from what? Oh, from talking about the Sounders?
Yeah, to messing with that. Yeah, I like Roberto. Five changes is hard to keep up with. You're right. Now, you know who's
Mhm.
gonna have a hard time keeping up with 5 changes in this game? The Seattle Sounders. So feel a little better with that because they don't have 5 subs to give. We do.
Yeah.
We're still competitive with 5. They're not.
Yep. Facts.
And it's a
We
day
get
game, and half of them are over 30. So, there it is. Get them late. Get them late. Al Hopkins, he's talking about Raheem. We didn't even mention Raheem playing in this game,
Mhm.
and he did play well as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned. He did his job. So
Mhm.
that was cool to see him come in for the little time that we saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raheem, it's coming up a couple times.
Mhm.
Now they're talking about the extension to Atuesta. Okay, so the rumor on Twitter is that Atuesta is getting an extension. They haven't given times yet. I will say in that case, I hope and pray that's the case. Let's hope there's like a transfer fee window on there or something where it's like he's got a price and it has to be that price or higher, right? So you don't get undercut.
Yeah.
But definitely the man's earned a raise, so I'm all for it if it keeps him on for the entire season because I don't want to lose him this year. I want to win an MLS Cup. So good. Curious about extension. We'll hear more tomorrow, I'm sure, guys. Let's see. A lot of talk from the guys, as you see here. From Atuesta talk. Good. Some Vermeer's talk from Al again, talking about how Vermeer was good in the Champions League.
Mhm.
He made good saves, but I think his distribution, his positioning wasn't what I wanted. So there. Danny Boy. I'll give a shout out to Danny Boy. He says LAFC, a great win and awesome way to start the season. No DPs, got the victory, 2 goals and a clean
Mhm.
sheet. I dare anyone in MLS to survive with no DPs on the field. I dare them. I dare them to. There isn't a single one in this league that can get a win without their DPs, except us. So
Yeah.
I'll be spoiled. I'll act that way, but it's true. Nobody is as heavy as us without their DPs. We can still do the job, and we proved that. Al, you're right. Vela was mad at the Galaxy game where he got taken out.
Mhm.
You're right. I love the fire. The fire is a good thing. Have it in
Yeah.
you. Let's see. Other conversations. Yes, Baird was class. So was Blessing. You guys are right. So
Mhm.
keep running down the line. Here we go. Chase the sun from Brendan. There you go. Yeah, I called it we're all standing together because, dude, we really did stand together in this one finally. Together. We're at the match. So that's why I did that. Marvin, his MVPs in the day were Poco, Corey, and Cisnega. I like your choices, sir. I think you're right in that
Nice.
sense. But I will throw K into the mix as well. You're like, what? Yeah, I did.
I don't know about MVP. I think, yeah, I think what's like his own individual category of MVP. Like you did
You get a
a
gold
solid
star.
job here. Exactly.
Thumbs up and a gold star. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Corey Baird was the story in Cisnega. Everybody was super impressed, more impressed than we've ever been with a winger in the last 2 years, except for, the big boys of Rossi and Vela. So there, I said it. Shout out to the podfather, Jerry Jimenez. You and your San Diego Sockers. I hate y'all. Not you, but I hate the Sockers. So, yeah, as you know, they won it. They took out the Fury in the final. A
Yeah.
little controversial in that match, I will say. But they did their job. They got it done. They always win. It is what it is. So, Jerry, all good, man. Are you working? So, if you don't know, Jerry actually works for the Sockers now and was on field doing photos and media. So, there it is.
Nice.
Got it done. Yes, Pee Wee, you're right. We did get it done without Vela.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan, they are not leaving for Australia. The interview was friendly to Australia, but they're not leaving. So, we're not giving him up, sir. I don't know. Yeah. How many Tim Tams would it cost to get Vela? That's the question of the day. So there we are. Baird did have something to prove. You're right, Roberto. And I think that's kind of where we're at now. Then we can jump on to the last comments. Here we go.
Yeah.
Down to the bottom comments that have been firing as I did this. Let's see. Oh, there's a new pizza vendor at the bank. I haven't tried them yet.
That is news I am very invested in.
Right.
People,
and I guess
try it out and let me know.
I'll try it out. I won't try out Trejo's tacos. I had that at Farmer's Market and I wasn't impressed. So there it is. Get better.
Okay.
If you don't have handmade tortillas, don't give me the taco. I don't care. So there.
Yeah, Trejo, what's up?
Yeah, man. Handmade tortillas, man. It's a thing. You got to do it. So there. There's Jerry. He's giving the shout out to me. Yeah, brother. It was good to see you at the stadium, man. Looking forward to seeing you soon, brother. When things all get a little bit more normal, definitely paying you a visit, man. For sure. Oh, Red Lion's open back up. Red Lion, get your German food. There you go. Good stuff. Any more comments, guys? Throw them my way. I think we're getting close to the end here at 117. We're closing things out. So I'll give you one more comment. Is that it? Are we calling it? All right. So guess what, Christine? You know what that means? It's time.
I have no idea. Okay.
Oh, the shocker. Final comments. Go for it, Christine.
Wow, there's so much that's happened in the last week. I feel like I've aged 20 years in this past week. Really grateful for our season opener and lovely to see everybody who put in work into the TIFO and the tribute and the team itself and the staff. It was amazing and everything that we could have asked for. So I'm happy for everyone who got to see it live. I just got my second vaccine dose. So I'm extremely excited to be able to go visit my parents in a couple weeks, do a lot of things that I haven't been able to do for over a year. And I guess I always reiterate this, but I would like for everyone to continue to be patient and be safe and wear their masks because that'll help us, speed up this process where we can get back to normal. And yeah, I also would like to mention that a lot has happened. There's been, a lot in the news, and I want to extend my prayers and my work and my thoughts and my energy to men, women, and children, particularly Black men and women and children who've been shot or harmed this past week. It seems like it's become even more and more prevalent, and for me, football and community and everything about my life is interconnected. And I want to be able to honor that by mentioning that, those families are on my mind. And, for everyone in our community who feels impacted by that, you're on my mind. And I hope that you're able to reach out to friends and family and receive support and to care for yourself, to take time for yourself in these difficult moments. And that let's do our best to thrive, and uh, be good to each other. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next game, Joseph. And thank you for another great episode. Thank you for all our listeners as well.
Thank you, Christine. Again,
Mhm.
I can't match the things she says in this case. Again, love has to win the day, and vigilance has to win the day. Be vigilant. Help your fellow Angelino. Look out for others. Violence is a horrible thing, and hate. And the only way we defeat that is being vigilant and being united against it. Our unity is always going to be the weapon that defeats these type of people. So stick with it. Be honest. Call it out when you see it. And yeah, be vigilant. On that note, I will say thank you everyone for making opening day what it was. Giving the respect to Mo and his family that they deserved all the way across the board. I think it went way beyond expectation, and how things turned out on the day. And we all know that this season is definitely dedicated to Mo. He is our guardian angel, without a doubt. He'll always be looking over us. And you did him right this week. Keep doing it. Keep giving everything you have, game in and game out. We're on a mission this year. We all know what that mission is. So give your all. The club will give their all. We'll all get back together and have our moment together in the bank again by the time the fall comes around. I am confident in that. So on that note, again, love your fellow supporter in Angelino. Look out. And of course, stay golden.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.